My name is Diana Loderhose, International Features Editor here at Deadline. I'm in our Red Sea studio with Ranbir Kapoor.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So let's talk about, well, you've had a hugely prolific career. What would you say has been the one film that has been very kind of like key for you in terms of changing your career and having the biggest impact on you?
I think I've done around 21 or 22 odd films in my 17-year career, and I think every film has brought about some change. I always believe that failure has always changed me more than a successful film. So I would like to say my first film, Savarya, which was a big disaster at the box office. It was directed by one of the masters of Indian cinema, Mr. Sanjay Bansali. Didn't work at the box office. It was a very ridiculed film. But it kind of prepared me very early on about what this industry is like, what it's like to be an actor, the highs and lows. So I think it humbled me. I was humbled in my first film itself. So it kind of prepared me for the ride.
Yeah, that's a really good answer, actually. So would like to ask you also about Animal Park, which, is that in production at the moment, or?
The director's making another film right now. We should start that film 2027.
Oh, so it's a little bit away.
It's a bit away, yeah.
Okay, because Animal, I mean, what a crazy film,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I would love to know if you know anything, like if you've seen the script for the sequel yet, but, your character, Vijay, how much more can he go through? He's
Well, that was
quite
just
a revengeful character.
yeah,
Heart transplant.
everything.
Everything. It's wild.
But I think he just kind of flirted with what he really wants to do with the movie. He wants to make it over 3 parts. The second part is called Animal Park. We've been sharing ideas from the first film itself, how he wants to take the story forward. It's very exciting because now I get to play two characters, the antagonist and the protagonist. So extremely exciting project, an extremely original director, and very excited to be part of it.
Do you mind explaining why you get to play two? 'Cause for people who haven't seen the first one, what happens?
Well, who haven't seen the first one, it's the antagonist gets a face. What's the right word? He becomes like a body double,
Like plastic
and
surgery.
like plastic surgery, and he starts looking like the protagonist, and that's where the story is going to take off in part 2.
Brahmastra?
Brahmastra.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Of course I would
Yeah.
pronounce that incorrectly. I apologize. Is a sequel, that was a part one.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about working on that.
Well, part 2 is of course, it's in the writing stage right now. Part 1 was called Shiva, part 2 is called Dev. We haven't really announced the cast yet. That's something very exciting also. It's directed by one of my closest friends, Ayan. I worked on 2 films with him before this. That's Wake Up Sid and Ye Jawani Hai Diwani and Brahmastra. So definitely it was, one of the first few films of that nature, especially for Indian cinema. We've explored and we've touched upon certain ideas, but it has potential to really, really grow more in the coming parts.
You worked with your now wife on
Yes,
that, right?
Alia, yes.
And was that before, if you don't mind me asking?
We actually met this was the first film we did together, and we started dating during the film. We got married and we had a baby by the release of the film. So this whole kind of Brahmastra kind of shows us our journey together.
How lovely.
Yeah.
And so it must be quite a special.
Yeah, it is special.
film.
Yeah.
Will she be in the second?
Of course.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. So is there anything else you can tell me? Because I know that you guys, compared to Hollywood, the volume of projects that you guys as actors work on is quite staggering. So I'd love to know, what can you tell us about that's kind of
Well,
active
currently
right now?
I'm working on a film called Ramayan, which is India's greatest story. It's been produced by Namit Malhotra, somebody who owns DNEG, which is a LA studio and a studio in London. It's got artists and creators and different crew members from all around the world. It's made over 2 parts. It's the story of Lord Ram and Ravan, and it's India's greatest story. And to see it to this new generation with the kind of technology that we have, it's a very exciting and very gratifying opportunity for me as an actor. Especially to play the part of Lord Ram. And the other film I'm working on is a film called Love and War. It's again back to the first filmmaker I worked with, Sanjay Leela Bansali. I'm working on that film again with my wife, Alia Bhatt, and another very fine actor called Vicky Kaushal, and another exciting film that I'm part of.
Great. So we had Amir Khan in here at the beginning of our studio, and I asked him a question I'm going to ask you, which is In terms of looking kind of at RRR, for example, and how that kind of broke out of Indian cinema, basically broke borders and had success at the Oscars, of course. I wonder what your kind of opinion is on Indian cinema and its kind of what's happening with the movement of it now to kind of break out beyond Indian audiences.
Yeah, I think we all are really proud of what RRR did and films like even Lagan, what Lagan did 20 years back or more years. But I think it all comes down to originality. It's not about trying to cater to the West. It's about making a film about your culture, which is very deeply rooted in your value system, about the characters that you've grown up with or are part of your country. And I think RRR just celebrates that in the best way possible. It's not really a heavily inspired film from the West or any other country or any other culture. So I think the dream has always been to take a film from your country, rooted in your culture, and then show it to the world.
Would you ever consider working on the other side of the pond in Hollywood? Is that something that
Well,
ever
of course, the opportunity whenever it arises would be very exciting for me, but I'm even more excited to take a film made by my people from my country and take it around the world.
Great. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
being
Diana.
here
Thank you.
today. Nice
Thank you
to
for
meet
having me. Thanks.